Hello, and welcome to Manga Mommies.
A podcast where we chat about, you guessed it, mangas, and occasionally our lives as parents.
Nice to meet you all. I'm Kyo,
And I'm Kel.
and we are your host on the show. We hope you're having a great Monday. So please, would you kindly get a drink, take a seat, and let's chat.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be talking about the division of licensing on exclusive streaming services. Is it really helping or is it hurting the industry? What's your predictions, Kels?
I think right now it's not doing so bad. I'm worried about when something gets a monopoly on the licensing, how high the prices are going to skyrocket.
Ugh, I know what that means. Oh, it's so sad. I know I sound terrible, but it's whatever. I can cut it out. I don't care. Maybe you can go beep. But no, I completely understand. I mean, it's much the same way as, streaming industries has pretty much gotten to resembling of buying your TV packages, like your sports package if you wanted to watch, I don't know. I know, I just thought about it and it went away. Oh, well, who cares? So, I mean, I was thinking about Super Bowl. So, but I ain't too worried about it. Yeah, I was thinking about Super Bowl and then it just cut out. My brain has not been with it today. We've had kind of a rough week, rougher than we've had weeks. I know I keep saying it like every episode, but it's fine. It'll be fine. We're all fine. It's all gravy.
There is no war in Bossing Say.
Oh, yeah. My lovely joke from last time has come back to haunt me. Oh. But I mean, yeah, it's much like, your old TV packages back in the ways of old. Which, I mean, exactly the point of why a lot of people started dropping them when the streaming services started coming up. Hence why Netflix got so big. Unfortunately, manga subscription sites. I know, I'll get there. Manga subscription. Oh my god, I had it right. I miss audio only.
I feel like that's just going to be the blooper for everything. I miss audio only.
Audio only. It's going to be humped over. I miss audio only. I'm going to be humped over just like this, and I miss audio only. See how cute I look? Man, fucking shit. Manga subscription sites are starting to feel the same way. Remember when Netflix had everything? And then Disney Plus came in. And then Hulu. And then HBO, which turned into HBO Max. Blah, 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 blah. We had Funimation and then Crunchyroll separately. And then all of a sudden, Crunchyroll bought out Funimation. And now you have this merge and nobody knew what was coming and what was going. Which is fine if you want certain titles across the platforms that were posted. Some get about the same time, like Netflix will get stuff that HBO will have, vice versa, depending on your season. But then they started to argue about everything, of course. It made certain titles locked away into their platform. Instead of one subscription to, let's just say, Netflix, now you have to have 5 just to watch your one show or your series of one show, or movies. Movies are big with that too. Manga streaming has become about the same way. You have benefits of being able to watch your to read your current ones. And then you have other platforms that are like, hey, you can only read 3 chapters, and then you got to start paying. Much like Viz does, which is great. Viz is great about that. But if you're just discovering a new service, then you must pay that monthly fee in order to back read it. I have noticed that a lot of it. Or some stuff that was made by Viz is no longer on their site because it's too old and they lost the license to it at some point, or they dropped it completely, like for Shonen Jump. That's another one that's a big issue that I may touch on later. Uh, some certain titles are free for entire years behind the releasing date, um, and some aren't. But for reference, let's look at some of the rundown of the most popular streaming services for manga that is out there currently. You have Viz Media, which also owns Shonen Jump. You have Manga Plus. You have Kodensha, aka K Manga, which is for its own streaming services on your phone for an app. You have J Novel Club. You have your Yen Press, which also owns Dark Horse and Seven Seas. You have your Amazon Kindle Unlimited, Humble Bundle, Crunchyroll. You have Hoopla. You have Libby. You have Mangamo. I know I skipped over that other one, but I don't care. And then some of the other ones that are just now starting to either come up or start to get a little bit of population, or they've been around for a while and they're finally getting their stuff together, which is mostly for just apps on your phone. Manga Plus is a big new one. Manga Up is a big new one that they've refixed their stuff. Manga Up is definitely a new one. And then you have Manga Reader, which is the one that I use a lot because it's got a lot of the classics on there. And that one's completely free. I don't have to do anything with that one, so I love it.
That's my favorite.
That one is my favorite. They did have some issues for a while, but they finally, I think, got back on track. And some things they have and some things they don't, but you do have to watch it because sometimes their stuff's a little mixed up. But yeah, overall, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's bringing more accessibility and more availability to the wider audience to appreciate manga, as it is a great thing. But putting a lot of it behind a paywall or only releasing half of it for a chapter, needing to purchase coin to read more chapters, limited access to the manga as well as the website, locking certain titles or releases or certain companies creating monopoly over certain titles is allowing the prices to be going all over the place. Again, if you can buy it, buy it. Buy the physical copy. That way, guess what? When you decide to go, hey, I don't want to be able to pay for this subscription anymore. Oh, look, I still have access to the title instead of it actually going away and my money being wasted. I only use the free stuff to check out a manga. Maybe the first book, maybe the first few chapters, like Viz. I go after the free stuff because I want to know what I want to eventually put my money towards and buy instead of just going to, granted, I know back in the day, Borders was my thing, going in there and spending hours just reading, but I don't have that luxury anymore. I got 2 under 2. So it's usually a quick Amazon checkout buy, Books A Million checkout buy, any other store checkout buy, because I don't have that luxury. So, it is what it is with that. What about you, Kels?
I think the only real consolation with all of this is the fact that you can purchase outright manga in paperback form. So if you aren't sure if you like the manga or you don't have the funds to drop on purchasing it, like you said, streaming sites are more affordable and a lot more enticing on the wallet.
It is.
So you will be reading the physical copy of that. I am reading the digital one. The downside to a lot of these services is that when you stop paying for the subscription, you're not allowed to actually retain or keep the manga, or it will revoke your access to seeing it. Certain sites don't require you to have a subscription, but to use in-app purchases, currency microtransactions to be able to read the chapters, which are often cut up into multiple parts, are often more anti-consumer feeling. So it's not really a surprise that a lot of fans are unhappy with the pay structure, which is something that I have seen across several forums, Reddit boards, Quora searches, etc., where a lot of people will complain that one chapter that's, say, 15 pages is suddenly you're paying almost $6 a chapter to read it by the time you purchase these coins and these microtransactions. Another downside to digital media is also needing an internet connection with most of the services. If not all the time, at least to be able to download onto your device and then to access the site originally. So if you're not connected to a Wi-Fi or you don't have internet at home or you can't log into something, if you're not using an app specifically where you've pre-downloaded something, you're kind of SOL. You can't exactly just pick it up and go like you could a physical book as well. Um, so one pro of digital media though is it is really convenient. So digital media is easier to search through than physical manga, even if physical collections are a lot prettier to look at. Hence, these are my manga and those are all Kyo's. So we kind of cover both spectrums here where I read a lot digitally, and while she does as well, she also has a plethora of hard copies to pick from as well.
They're
Um,
beautiful.
so there's that. There's many arguments about traditional versus digital media in general, especially around manga. But if you're limited on space or funds, it's much easier to have all of your manga on one device to read or to take with you rather than packing 20 books if you're going on vacation. Some collectors appreciate the physical copies of the books, enjoying the smell, the tactile feel of the pages, being able to physically immerse themselves within the book rather than a screen. Other people, they prefer to just read and be able to put it down and be done with it and have access to it almost everywhere they go as long as they have internet. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of a healthy mix between, either way you're going to consume that particular manga.
Yeah. And I mean, and like you said, you're more of the online reader, little phone, Kindle, whatever you got. And then I'm more traditionally physical. Like a lot of mine are copies you can't find anywhere else. And that's sad that, it comes to that at some point. And then it starts to get harder because piracy. I mean, some of the stuff in the past that I have put on there for you to free read has been technically piracy because it was somebody else either scanned the copies and translated it themselves or they scanned it over from their book. Yeah, I'm not giving it to you so that's the only thing that you can read. I'm giving it to you to say, hey, here's a little bit of what this is going to be about. It may give you all of it. So push come to shove, if you can't, buy outright, especially the rare stuff, you have a little bit there to get yourself interested and see if you're even going to like it or not. Because, like I said, usually our manga of the months, unless it's been a big hit in the past or a current event big hit, a lot of people may not enjoy it. It just comes down to it. So, I mean, I have quite a few rare ones. Some of them aren't even complete because they either stopped selling it in America or never even brought it over America. So that's even worse because you're like, I'm like chapter, I'm like level or I'm all over the place today. I'm like volume 5 or 15, but there ends up being like 20 something else books in the whole series and you have no access to it because I don't know, the licensing went away for it or it didn't make enough money so they stopped selling it over here or whatever reason. Or it did sell over here and they didn't make enough copies and eventually by the time you realized it was over, it's gone. So
Yeah.
it's kind of unfortunate that happens. Um Overall, I think it's more of a personal choice. Uh and preferences for each of the individual reader. Physical copies are not locked to one streaming service. Kind of wish sometimes they were. And are generally easier to access to, unlike physical manga, which you could probably go to any bookstore and find manga, but you may not find the manga you're looking for. Or you just can't find it, period. I know there's a lot on TikTok that I have seen where people are like, my manga haul of the day. Oh, I wish I could find, volume 6 and 7, but I have like all the rest of them. I'm just missing those two. And it's because of that exact thing. Not every bookstore owns it. Not every website will have it available because, you have to be, day one, get the copy, or else you're risking eventually at some point looking at third-party websites that may or may not get a good copy coming in. I have a copy of Chocolat, which is actually a Korean manga. And, the very last book, it was like, I was able to get it, score it for like $25, but it actually goes online for about $95. And the reason I got it for 25 is because it was old library copy. You open it up and there's stickers all over like the first page of all the pretty pictures. There's like a huge sticker that I can't get off. But it's overall in great shape. And it is a risk. It's a risk to get stuff like that, but it's really worth it sometimes, especially if you can get it at that lower price. You know, there's no right or wrong way to consume it. There's really not, and I hate that there's somewhat of a war, especially between manga readers and, oh, if you don't have the physical copy, you're a loser. Oh, if you don't read just digital, you're wasting your money. Oh, and then you got the divide in between when it goes into anime. Oh my God. I can't stand that where it's like, oh, I only read the anime. I only read the manga. You only can get all the story if you read the manga. Well, it's all fighting. It's all fighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pick me, I'm better one. And I'm like, no. Best example, I know I went way off our subject, but the best example is Fruits Basket. It's 100% Fruits Basket. The 2001 release of Fruits Basket was originally, they got the rights to make the anime. They make the anime. It's cute. It's sweet. It's a great introduction to anyone who's stepping into it perfectly because it doesn't trauma bomb you like the manga. Sorry, manga does trauma bomb you.
It does.
And I think a lot of people realized this after they watched the 2019 release when they revamped it, reanimated it, redid everything, and included the entire manga story for you. And I think 3 seasons?
I think it was 3 seasons.
3 seasons?
I
Yeah.
think so.
I still get a little choked up because it's one of my favorites. But going back, originally it was, here's the anime. You watch the anime. You loved it. It ended somewhat simple and sweet somehow. You walk away to the next anime, never to see it again. That's the only way you know that it ended. Versus you got the people who watched it, went and read the manga, bought the manga, owned the manga. But this was before a lot of the digital stuff came out. So, and they're like, oh, this story gets real deep. The bad guy's not really a bad guy. The good guys are not really good. It tells you everything. It explains their psyche. There's a reason why they are the way they are. And this is exactly what I was saying back in September when we did the manga of the month for Fruits Basket. Yeah. I get a little choked up with that one. I really do. But then you have the people that, they go on and they get the manga because they fall in love with it because of that way. It's not one-sided, and it gets a lot of one side. Because I see it. I see it even on TikTok. Oh my God, I just watched Fruits Basket. I didn't know it was that deep. I only watched the original. And I'm like, yeah. Stop being one-sided.
Yep.
Join us for the truth.
And I mean, you've even got there's been situations for me where I have fallen in love with an anime. And I need to read the manga about this. And I have gone to look for the manga and I either can't find it online because the licensing has been pulled for whatever English company and they don't have it, so they can't release it, or it's locked behind a huge paywall, or it's, almost impossible to find a physical copy of that manga for less than $100 a book, which if your girl was rich, your girl would have multiple bookshelves. Okay. But it was one of those things where I was like, I guess I'm just going to have to settle with the anime and appreciate it for what it is. And maybe eventually down the line, there will be another licensing thing that comes up where Viz or whoever can grab it, yen press, and release it in, North America. And I find too that because we are in North America and we're relying on these companies to get the licensing for these things, we miss out on so much that's released in Japan because it is never ever marketed a single day in that poor creation's life to North America. The only reason maybe anybody in North America knows about it is because they have friends or somebody from Japan has even mentioned it. So a lot of the times you're kind of begging one of these services to pick it up so you can watch it, whether it's Crunchyroll, whether it's Yen Press, whether it's Viz Media, whoever. And it's like, come on, you can do it. And I feel like if they start trying to monopolize these licensing and they do what Netflix has done, what Disney Plus has done, what HBO or Hulu has done, where nope, that's our series, just us, you can't have it any other way. And you get somebody like, for example, Viz, if they start picking up a bulk of the licensing because they're huge, they have the profits for it, they can do that. What's going to happen to the readers on the user end of it? Because Netflix Netflix is a perfect example, translating it over to another type of media, because Netflix came in and said, hey, password sharing is awesome. Hey, we keep things low. Oh, you want multiple screens? It doesn't cost you very much. I got a price increase email 3 days ago that in March, my service is going up another like $2 a month. And they're losing contracts. They're not maintaining things because these other streaming services have come up. So now it's like, okay, if I want to watch these shows, all of a sudden I have to buy Netflix. I have to buy Disney Plus. I have to buy Hulu. I have to buy HBO. And now I'm back to basically purchasing Comcast all over again for shit that I don't want to watch one damn series. We got away from it, and now we're going back to it because it is this monopoly, because they have such a grip on that licensing. And it's this weird foreshadowing to me of what's going to happen with all of these streaming companies that acquire these licenses, because you have third-party companies. There's one that I can't think of the name of it right now, but I went looking and they were on a lot of like top 10 sites for being able to see free stuff and whatever and everything. There was no subscription, there was no anything for it. And when I went to go log into the website to do some research, they were like, hi, yeah, so we've started receiving active threats, so we have to shut down. So somewhere where it is, yes, it's technically piracy, but it's putting things out there for people to actually see. They had a lot of titles that weren't on different platforms to be able to find it. And because of threats from these bigger companies, they had to shut down. They had to pull their mangas. They had to pull their stuff. And it's like, okay, well, if it's going to get to the point where people are getting lawyers involved and it's going to become this weird, like, digital monopoly of manga, where are we headed with that?
Yeah.
So like I said at the beginning, right now, I feel like it's still pretty balanced. It's still really reasonable. A lot of the costs associated with some of these subscriptions are not terrible by any means, especially if you are an avid reader.
Mm-hmm.
I just worry 2, 3, 5 years from now, when these companies that are big get more of a handle, get more of a grip on the market, is it going to be, and I'm probably going to get shit for saying this from somebody, but is it going to be like Walmart, where they come into a town, push the mom and pops out and take over and then jack their prices?
Yeah. And like, I get a lot of streaming services are, when it comes to manga and stuff like that, it's piracy. I grew up being a pirate. Sorry, it happened. But I was a teen. I was like, I can't afford it. I'm going to get it free. And I went to the sites and I did it. A lot of us were pirates. Shout out to everyone out there. So, yeah, that was before, they would do copyright, and copyright became a big thing, which is a big thing because, I'm a business degree. I know all this stuff. And it is bad. It is bad that we have to resort to that just to get something. And because it's not, within our price range. And they're like, we'll make more money. And I'm like, well, I know. But I also understand why it comes down to it needing to be actually hit on, which is why I'm like, I don't really promote, the free stuff I give y'all. I'm like, look, it's just to look at. It's not really to use, because I want you to go out and I want you to buy these stuff, even like from Viz or from Amazon or something like that, because that money does go back to the writers. It does go back to the people who produced it. It goes back to those people that translated it. It went back to those. The money goes somewhere. It doesn't just go into the pockets of big corporation. But I'm also like, okay, where's the line though? Where's the line to where we can have maybe one platform or maybe two platforms where they're like, this is what we have. We have it all, or we don't. Viz is a big one. I love Viz. I love Heart Viz, because I was a big Shonen Jump girl. Problem, you can't find the old stuff. All the old stuff you can't find because they either don't have a license for it anymore or it finished and they just dropped it off the face of the earth. It happens. Dean Angel was a big one. Dean Angel, you had up until so many volumes and then they killed it. Shonen Jump killed it, so they stopped selling it. But that's my thing. I wish that they would show the old stuff, so I wouldn't have to go be a pirate or go spend massive amounts of money that's never going to see the writer's stuff, because I'm buying from third-party websites that are selling it like thrift books. They don't pay a fee to sell their stuff back to them. So what's stopping me?
And I think a big part of that comes down to, supporting the fandom too. Like if you really like something, you want to, and it's not something that's say finished, say it's a more current work that's still ongoing. You want another season, you want another book, you want another storyline. You have to throw your money where your mouth is. And so, yes, we give you the free copy to check something out, see if you like it. If you like it, purchase it. If it's within your means to do so,
please
purchase that copy. Because when you throw your money at it, when you are purchasing anything to do with the physical manga or anything to do with the actual series itself, whether that's animes on DVD, whether that's plushies, whether that's manga, whatever it is that is about that fandom, that series, it tells these people and these companies and these authors, yes, there is still an interest in your work. Yes, it is still worth you continuing this. So while we do promote free things from time to time to get people interested, we also encourage that if you like something, you go get it. You show them with your money exactly what you're interested in. Otherwise, you can have situations where you will have series that stop midway through because the fandom has died to the point where it's not worth them spending the time and money to keep producing anything to do with that series.
Big example, Sailor Moon. We never got the original rest of it. We never did from the animation thing because that company died out. That company kept the hold on the license. They wouldn't release it. And that was the problem. Nobody could buy it. Nobody could get it anyway. So for years, no one got the next season of stuff that was being released in Japan. No one was getting anything. And then all of a sudden, they finally released it. They were like, here you go. Y'all can fuck with it. I don't care. And now it got big popular again. They re-released the books. They re-released, they redid the animation, I think like once or twice. They redid the movies. They redid the thing. Hell, there's even like a tour going on in America right now of Sailor Moon. I think it's like the adaptation play-like thing. It bounced back. It went from coming and dropping off the face of the earth to coming back. Because people begged, people pleaded, people signed petitions, people went and bought what was overseas. They went to the library. They went somewhere and didn't just go, oh, they got it. Oh, well, I'm out. Bye. And leave. They didn't do that.
It's also the one thing that I really appreciate about how manga and the Japanese culture really works, where you can, with a big enough voice, say, hey, we want this back, or we want you to continue, or please keep making this. And it's actually taken into consideration as long as it's within the licensing, as long as it's within the ability of the company or the writers to do that. They're like, hey, cool, we can make money on it. Listen to the people. In North America, it doesn't feel that way. They could cancel a show that is hugely popular and has been popular since day one, and they don't care. Like, whatever.
No.
Too bad. We're moving on to the
Okay.
next big thing. We don't care what you have to say. You can consume the reruns, or you can consume, the old copies of something. We don't care. We're not re-releasing it.
No. I mean, there's a lot of examples of that. And so it really does. It just comes down to, put your money where your mouth is. That's why we started this podcast. I'm like, I want to talk about manga. I want to talk about, topics of manga. Well, again, what's the longest running manga? What's the history of manga? Where did it come from? Where did it start? I know the last few days our stuff kind of spiked in that note, and I was kind of happy about that because I liked that episode. I was like, yay, it's getting traction finally. The longest running manga, in Japan. There's tons of people that's never heard of it over here unless you actively go look for it. The guy's dead that made it has a successor, and it's still going. It's incredible.
I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Dragon Ball, with that whole thing.
Oh, I really want to know. I don't know if they're just finishing out. I know there was supposed to be a successor, but I'm not quite sure if they're really, if they sat down and decided they wanted to do it. I think there's still a lot of stuff being done.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about it, like that was something that I grew up with as a kid. That was on, TV for us as a kid. Like, I think it was Cartoon Network or something had that. And I didn't know they were anime. That was not something that I was even remotely aware of. And then you look now and it's like, okay, it fast forward 3 decades. Now the guy has died. And it's like, what's going to happen? Because they kept it going. Like, I know so many people in our generation that are still absolutely in love with at least the anime.
Yeah.
It's still a huge fan base. So, they could have a successor. We don't know what happened with that one or what's in the will or anything else. But to try to find that out would be really interesting. To see where they're going to go with it.
Then you're going to have tons of manga that's eventually, I mean, that's what Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball. We don't really talk about Dragon Ball GT. But, it goes on and there's several spinoffs of it. I can go on and on, but I'm not. So, eventually, I hate to say it, but eventually it's going to start falling off the face of the earth if there's not a successor, if the licenses don't get renewed. If this generation and the next generation doesn't succeed in going, hey, sit down and watch this, or hey, have you read this? You really should. Because that's all about fandom. You want more people to talk about these things. You don't want to gatekeep and be like, well, if you've watched this or you read this, then what is this character's name? What is this? What is that?
20 minutes of Kyo ranting later. Trust me, none of y'all wanted to hear all this.
And another thing, what the hell is up with this? Why? Why do they have to change this so much? It doesn't look pretty on my shelves. You understand this?
Kyo.
Whoa.
Whoa.
This.
It's
What?
okay. There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se. Anyway, sorry about that, folks. I get a little heated sometimes. and it goes off for a minute, and it's just like, I'm okay now. We're all okay.
We get it out of the system, and then we're good.
And then we move on. But back to our point. Just a reference. I'm going to give y'all a reference on the breakdown of what exactly you're looking at if you decide you want to go to more of a streaming service site. You have the Viz Media, which is roughly about $1.99 a month current prices as of this recording. But you can also subscribe to Shonen Jump separately for about $2.99 a month to just get the whole catalog that comes out a month. But to me, I wouldn't do that. I would just stick with Viz Media's $1.99 a month if it's still that. Because everything in Viz Media is going to be the same going into Jump. It really is. unless there's something new coming out and Viz doesn't actually have that yet. It is only solely in Shonen Jump, but it's in the air. I don't really know because I don't go specifically into it. But to my knowledge, it contradicts itself. Contradict whatever. I don't care. I've already run out of tan. I'm not doing that again. So, another one would be J Novel. You can have their free account. You can have the regular membership, which is about $4.95 a month. You can get the premium membership, which is about $6.95 a month. I don't know the difference in it. A lot of these I won't know the difference in. I would say Crunchyroll. They no longer have a separate manga stuff. It's all in one. So to my knowledge, no matter what you pick in subscription, except for free, you have access to manga. And I think maybe in the free, you're access to like very little, but it's pretty much, it's all through their website. You have to go check that out. Manga Mo is about not $4.99 a month. Manga Plus for their standards about $1.99 a month, and then the deluxe is about $4.99 a month. Also, the apps that I originally was talking about before, like I said, Manga Reader is free, completely free. Again, it is one of those that's kind of in the air. Like you may want to find this manga, but it'll have like something else in it, and I'm not sure if they actually fixed that or not, because I know there was a few that it was like, oh, these are classics. I'm really excited. They actually have that. They were ones I really pushed in the beginning. It was Manga Reader because they had all of Fruits Basket, and they're a legit website that you can donate to, and I think they actually get rights and stuff like that. So, then you have Manga Plus, which currently is also free, and I think free and a subscription. And then you have, there's one more. I'll get there. My brain. I went on a tangent, so now my brain's not there anymore. K-Manga, there's one for them. There is Shonen Jump Comics is one of them. Manga Up, actually produced by Square Enix. So that one's a new one. To my knowledge, they're new. They also have a subscription. They have free, they have subscription. Now their free is more of you only get so much, maybe like a week or a day. They're the coin system. But you can pay like a small fee. I think it's like $4.99 or something like that, and you have like full access. So it's not like a big range deal, and they have a lot to choose from. They also, with your subscription, they give you your first month free. So you could go in intending to pay and then read all the manga you want to within a month for your subscription, and then cancel back to free and probably never touch it again if you don't want to. So they're the ones that I think is pretty neat, because you actually get that access for free for like a month, versus we're like Crunchyroll, 7 days. You have 7 days to enjoy everything, and then you have to start paying for it, which I think is ridiculous, because I think they used to be a month.
Yeah, I think it used to be monthly.
Yeah, it used to be monthly, and then they spread off to where you can do it just for their stuff's bounced all over the place. I know one point it was just anime access for this amount of month, anime and live action, which I like a lot of live action stuff. This month, then you had, if you wanted to add manga, it was this month. If you just wanted manga, it was that a month. It was the whole thing, and now they're all in one big package.
Yeah, I wonder if
A, B, or C.
I wonder when they incorporated Funimation into Crunchyroll if that's what changed their pricing structure.
I'm sure. Funimation gave them a lot.
Yeah. I used to be like a Funimation. Yeah, I used to be a Funimation girly.
I think a lot of us were Funimation girls and guys, and they held a lot of monopoly for a while.
Yeah.
And then it kind of Crunchyroll bought them out. And I think that's also when about everything started hitting with Sailor Moon too. So a lot of stuff. I think we should all just get along and be friends, but I'm not going to happen. Any final thoughts, Kels, besides me ranting?
I mean, I think I've pretty much said everything I want to say on this topic. I know you could go on for another few hours on this topic, I'm sure.
I could. Licensing's a big thing. Again, business degree. So it's all up my alley. I like that kind of stuff. I like sitting down and being like, so what you gonna give me?
Hmm?
So yeah, I mean, pretty much I'm just like, buy. I'm just like, buy it. I mean, if you prefer, because I get it. This takes up space. I'm not sugarcoating it. This is a dedication. There are people that have 16 times more manga than I do. I had to stop, or else I would be probably about in their same boat. I had to stop because I had to, a big history, but there was a lot that had to go with storage, and then eventually I got my stuff back. So I stopped for a long time. I miss Borders. I miss Borders so much. I know down here in the South we don't have it anymore. I don't know if it's still a company somewhere else. But like back to school, tax free, manga counted for tax free. The buy one get ones. Cons, I loved going to cons. First day to con, you check everything out. You see all their price differences. They're all different. They're somewhat the same, but they're all different. You go to different places. You look at the main things that you need on your list. You got a list. I'm telling you, a list. You don't buy doubles with a list. I bought doubles. A list. A list. You go in. Day one. Hopefully you're one of those that used to be like me where you spent like the entire weekend at the con. I'm a big con girl. I love cons. Mostly for the manga and the pretty things. So, and the snacks. Anyway, rice balls. I want one so bad recently. I got to make them again. It's been a minute. So, you go in day one, you look at everything. Day two, you may start buying because day two is when they start pushing their sales. Buy 5 manga, get 3 free. Buy this, buy that, get this. Buy one, get one. Those are the best time to stock up on a big bulk of your manga because you are getting that stuff for free or at least at a discounted price. My card captors, that's first print Japanese, like has like the outside covers, got the little pretty card captor card insert pieces. I got that entire set for $60 at a con. They were just, no one reads Japanese over here. It's for sale for $60. I bought it. That shit's worth a ton now. Cons are your best bet. And then around day 2 and 3, like the second and last day. Now, if it's stuff that that's rare that you're not gonna be able to find, but day 1 and you find it, I would recommend you going ahead and buying it day 1. But if you want the big bulk of stuff, because that's when they're pushing it, that's when they drop those sale prices. That's when instead of buy one get one free, it's buy 3 get 5 free. You see those signs change. Please go to cons and do it. It'll make everybody's like, open up your. I've seen that a lot. Like on TikTok where they're like, see the big massive collection. I know I'm going on another tangent. Seeing on massive collections and they're just like, leave the window open so we can sneak in. No, you must be rich. No, we collect over the years. Yeah. We don't just go out and buy a shit ton of money. Some people do, but they have the assets to do it. Some people are like me where you've bought over the years. You've went to cons. This money's for cons. This money's for this and this money's for that. I got 2 under 2 now. I can't really go woo and go when I want. I miss cons. I really do. I miss meeting people. I miss the fun. But
Yeah. I mean, one day you'll get back into it.
I know. My dream is to that one day we're so big that we have our own panel in a con. We can talk about manga in a con. That'd be so cool. I'm gonna have snacks all over me, around me, near me. I can just like randomly pull up a slushie and they're like, where the hell did she get that? I know, I'm a little bit more enthusiastic than most people. Trauma.
Well, I think since we've said everything that we pretty much want to say on this, if you have made it this far in this episode, we want to say thank you. We couldn't have done this without your support. If you'd like to subscribe and become an official Manga Mommies member, the link will be in the show notes. For the manga of the month, the PDF, copy, or free website will be located in the description below. If you're feeling up to it, like, subscribe, and share our podcast so we can find more people just like you. We hope you have a great rest of your day, whatever time that happens to be, and we can't wait to see you in the next one.
Stay tuned, and thanks for listening.